Hi, I'm Parneet Jaggi and welcome to this video in the series of lectures on Charles Lamb's famous humorous essay, A Bachelor's Complaint of the Behaviour of Married People. We've already looked at the essay as to how it humorously and in an argumentatively and a convincing style he tells us about the behavior and attitude of the married people, which has been offending him for the last several years. Now, because he himself was a bachelor, Charles Lamb could not marry the whole of his life because he was looking after his sister, who was mentally unfit. And to look after his sister Mary Lamb, he sacrificed his own personal pleasures and did not marry. So, due to that reason, he had to face a very callous, indifferent, and a kind of an offensive attitude by his friends who were already married, and all the more from the couples who even had children. So let's look at the thematic structure and the style of the essay in brief. When we talk about the style of the essay, it has a seriousness as well as a humorous touch to it. It has a mock serious or a pseudo serious tone, and it is written in, for sure, in an argumentative style. His essay is just what the title suggests. It is a bachelor's complaint. He himself is the bachelor and he complains against the behavior of the married people whom he knows and whom he keeps visiting very often. Then his style has innumerable personal touches, personal anecdotes, stories, incidents, his experiences that he has gone through in his real life, as well as he has added a number of hypothetical situations in the essay that illustrate and support his point. For example, he introduces names such as testacea. This is just a humorous touch to the essay, which gives a name to a lady, Testacea, who is kind of offending him due to her behavior. Now, when we look at the theme of the essay, which is in fact the most important part of the whole write up, we see that he emphasizes his single status in the very beginning of the essay. He says, as a single man. And in doing so, he separates himself from a different category of the married people. He talks about these married people as if they are despicable, they are offensive, they are not likable to him. And he gives both hypothetical and personal examples time and again throughout the essay to support and illustrate his points. Married people set themselves apart in their own groups through their attitudes. So these people really do seem to be off in their own little world of love, whenever Lamb visits his friends and their wives or their children along with. This is what Lamb dislikes. They seem to be engrossed, busy in their own world, and they seem to neglect and ignore all other things that are happening around him. And Lamb himself feels neglected by these people. So he believes in the essay that married people prefer one another to all the rest of the world and openly flaunt it, thus offending the singles, the bachelors such as Lamb, by implying that they are not actually objects of preference. Then we also see that he believes that overall singles are looked down on married people as undoubtedly are more favored and knowledgeable. And the main complaint that he makes throughout the essay is that their attitudes and how they demonstrate their status is quite unlikable. And towards the end of the essay, he even brings up the subject of the children and how they also contribute to such an attitude of the married people. So we see the main complaint is the status, then the children, and then he also brings out the negative aspects which children play. Although he says children are the sweetest things of nature, but because of possessing children, these people show off something which is not very pleasurable. And they kind of separate them as a separate category from the rest of the world by showing that yes, they have children, which is like flaunting for something. Like he even says that as if children are phoenixes. He says children are such commonplace gifts of God, but these people show as if children are rare. They are like phoenixes. This is the simile that he is using. Then, when we talk about the structure of the essay, it logically appeals to the reader because it is argumentative. It flows and clarifies his points throughout through proper examples. However, Lamb fails to address any possible counter arguments. His argument addresses only the negative aspects of married people, but surely there are and there must be positive sides as well. So, by failing to address, to look into, to talk about these positive aspects and disprove these possibility, Lamb leaves a room for doubt. Now we see there are some flaws in his arguments. They are overlooked and undermined because he is quite credible and emotionally so convincing to the reader that his emotional appeal takes the show in its stride, and we are pretty convinced as to how he goes with his arguments, and he is successful towards the end of the essay in proving that yes, married people are offensive towards him, and he is quite justified in complaining against the behavior of the married people. So we find this essay as a very interesting, argumentative, logically appealing essay by Charles Lamb. So this was the whole series on Charles Lamb's essay, A Bachelor's Complaint. So thank you for now.